Okay, let's be honest. Venue pricing in Dubai can be the most confusing thing ever. You open a proposal and it says minimum spend, redeemable and F&B, subject to service charge and VAT, exclusive of rental. And you're like, what does that even mean? I'm Barbara from Wedding Bubble, and this week we're gonna decode it all. Minimum spends, rental fees, alcohol packages, and what's actually included in your venue deal. At the end of this, you'll understand how to read a venue quote like a pro and avoid overpay for things you don't even need. So, here's the thing. Every venue in Dubai has their own structure, but they all share one key term, the minimum spend. So, what does a minimum spend even mean? A minimum spend is the minimum amount that you have to spend on food and beverages in order to use the venue for your wedding. But this is not the rental fee. It's basically a spending threshold. Here's an example. So, if there's a minimum spend of 80,000 dirham and your food and drinks only total 78,000 dirham, you will still be charged 80,000 dirham. The good news, it's redeemable, meaning it goes towards your food and beverages, not on top of it. But here is where it gets tricky. Some venues, especially beach clubs, private villas, rooftops, also have a rental fee. Sometimes that rental fee is also redeemable within that minimum spend, and sometimes it's not, meaning you have to pay on top of it. Here's an example. Minimum spend 80,000 dirham, rental fee 15,000 dirham. That means your total commitment is 95,000 dirham before VAT and service charges. And then there's a small group of venues, very rare, that don't even have a minimum spend at all. They just charge a rental fee and the F&B per person. I know, confusing, right? But yeah, as I said, those are quite rare, but they do exist. It's often more private or boutique style. Okay, let's talk about that fine print. Almost every quote that you will see will say subject to 10% of service charge and 5% VAT. It means your 80,000 dirham minimum spend will actually cost around 92,400 once everything was added on top of it. So please always ask before, is the quote net or gross? If they say net, then you will still have to add everything on top of it. If they say gross, you're good. That's the final amount. Now, let's talk about the biggest budget wildcard, the alcohol. This is where the prices can vary the most from venue to venue. Soft beverage packages are sometimes already included in the main package, but sometimes are also charged per person. If it's not included, then expect around 50 to 100 dirham per person per hour. The alcohol beverage packages add anywhere from 100 to 600 dirham per person per hour, depending on the venue on what's exactly included. And here's the fun part. Every venue usually has different packages and they call them differently, but it's more or less anyways the same. So I usually categorize them in three. They usually have the standard package, which includes beer and wine, the premium package, adds spirits and sometimes cocktails, and the champagne package, includes sparkling wine or champagne. Now here's something that no one tells you. Let's say not all of you guests drink, or you simply just don't want to blow half of your budget on alcohol. Go for the non-alcoholic package and ask for the venue's wine list. You can pre-order a certain number of bottles, for example, one red, one white wine per table, and serve that instead of being charged a full hour per head. It's way more budget friendly, and your guests will never know the difference. In some cases, you can even do the same with spirit bottles and ask or negotiate with the venue if they can use their non-alcoholic beverages to mix some cocktails, but only the simple ones, like rum and coke, vodka orange, gin tonic. Just see whatever is possible. Talk to the venue, be open about it, say, this is my budget. What can we do? Okay, now there's also some venues that don't have minimum spends at all. They just have a set package per person, around 350, 450 dirham per person. These typically include soft beverages, food of course, basic setup, wait staff, and service. The catch, they often have a minimum guest count. For example, 80 or 100 guests minimum. So technically, it still becomes a minimum spend. It's just disguised as a per person rate. So what is actually included when the venue says wedding package? Let's talk about what is included first. Food and beverages, tables, chairs, cutlery, napkins, basic lighting and sound, sometimes bridal room or suite, ask for that. And in very rare cases, there is also a basic stage or platform. Let's talk about what is not included. And you'll need to budget for that separately. Decor and flowers, entertainment like DJ, videographer, photographer, celebrant or MC, wedding planner, like me. So always check the fine print before you think, oh wow, this venue includes everything. Another tip, the basic lighting and the sound is usually very poor. So I always ask couples to budget for that separately as well. Because trust me, you don't want to have a wedding in a very dark, I would say dark alley, but you won't see anything in photos and it's just going to look a bit sad. Okay. How to compare venues. When you compare venues, don't just look at the final number. So two venues can have both 80,000 dirham minimum spend, but one can include alcohol and maybe cover 100 guests, while the other only covers 60 guests and is probably just non-alcoholic beverages. The only fair way to compare it is when you have the average cost per guest, which includes, of course, all the fees, VAT, service charges, just like we discussed before. That's how you will know what you're really paying for. If you're still confused, don't worry, you're definitely not alone. We've created a free Dubai wedding guide, which helps you kick off your wedding planning. And we also have a vendor and venue guide that we've prepared for you where all these little details are explained once again in writing. And we've included the 25 plus even top venues in Dubai that we recommend for your wedding. You can download any of these guides that we have created in our stand store. I will leave the link below as well. So that's basically everything that you need to know about minimum spends, wedding venue packages in Dubai. Next week, we will talk about how to choose or which venue best to choose for your wedding. Is it a beach, desert, lush green venue, or maybe a ballroom? And what questions to ask to find your perfect match. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us also on Instagram. There you will get not only weekly, but even daily Dubai wedding tips. I'm Barbara from Wedding Bubble, where luxury meets fun. See you next week.